and say, I'm not going to interact with the world. Like jida yogi karde hunde si, ja siddh karde hunde sige. But parvirti is when you stay in parvar, stay in the dunya. So Guru taught us how to do that. Guru saying in the Pehli language, Bani deti sanu naam deta. What about second lam? What does Guru say in there? Duji lam. Satgur Purkh Milaya. But the reason why I was talking about this is love and fear. They come in the Lama. In Duji Lam, Guruji says, Main nirpau nirmal pau paya har gun gaya. But there's a fear that we have, and it's a nirmal one. That means it's a pure one. It's not like fear as in dunyavi fear when you're scared of something. But second love, it starts when you meet Guruji. Guruji teaches you nirmal pau. Then in the third lam, what happens? You haven't said anything yet. Tiji lam vich ki hunda fe? So second lam vich Guru says, Sadgur Purkh milaya, Guru mil gaya. And then fe ek dar paida ho gaya andar. That's really beautiful dar, By har gun ga ke, by singing Guru's praise. What happens at Tiji lam? बोलना नहीं किसी ने. So Tiji lam which Guru says Bairag which aa gaya. Bairag means where you start falling in love with something, but you can't find it, but you want it, Unu Bairag kehinde a. That's Tiji lam, Us Tiji lam which. That's pyar really. O pyar paida ho janda hai, love. But in the fourth lam, then Guru talks about milap. Edam mil gaya, Guru mil gaya fe. Like a pati, like a husband, like we're soul brides. So this subject today, is really important because sometimes when you talk about Sikhi, Sikhi is often talked about like Nitnem, Dastar, Dadi Rakhle, Amra Chakliya, and things like that. They're not unimportant things, but the thing is, the essence of Sikhi sometimes it gets lost. The essence of Sikhi is virtue, Guna. Why Guru gives us virtues? The virtues we're working off now are probably not virtues. There might be, what we call japapya, japunya, things like that. We're working in a kind of worldly way, but they're not godly, So what Vaheguru's given us is godly route to the world while we're living here. The problem is we get lost because of what we can see, what we can hear, feel, touch, and we think it's ours. So here, what we're going to start with is, I'll do a recap actually of last week. So we get Dukh because of our karma. Last week we talked about karma, our actions. And our Dukh, this is a Dukh Sukh. Obviously we talk about Dukh Sukh in these weeks. The Dukh comes of something we've done, So itte kuch kar liya, and then you get a result of that thing. And sometimes those things that we've done, they might not be here in this life. But NLP, we talked about that from the healing and from a therapy perspective. Programming, the P part of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that's the way the mind stores, organizes, and runs learned responses. So we just do certain things, they're in there, and then we just naturally just keep doing that. Sometimes we don't think about it, and we do that for years. But P was interesting because it was man, when we said mind, how we think, how we speak, how we act. That's man bach karam in Sikhi as well. That's neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro is how you think, linguistics how you speak, programming is how you act. So the programming part of that, because we covered the other two things in other weeks, that was how the mind acts upon what it's got inside. But the word karam in Gurbani is all, in English you say karma. So karma is said a lot. I know that's karma. They're referring to karma there. They say when something bad happens to someone, they say, that's karma. or something good happens, karma, hai na? But karma in Gurbani is more broad than that. We covered that last week. You can watch it on the video. Sorry, there. Maya has 3 forms or 3 gun. That's why it's called Tre Guna Maya. And we covered that how modern worldly behavior translates into one of those 3 forms. So whatever we're doing, whether it's everything from violence to even piety and religion, which Guru calls Pakhanda, obviously. Guru says it's not accepted how that's done. That falls into 3 forms of Maya. But Gursikhs try to get to the 4th state. That's Hukam and Anand. You know? So it's above Maya, above the worldly things. And we understood that the names of the different karma, so there were different bandhan, vyapata karma, there was when we say adhyatam karma and all those. So we discussed those last week as well. And we got a better understanding of why we are churning water or Maya. So the week before that, we covered about Simran and Naam and how it's just confused into some sort of meditation practice. Like kind of like mindfulness. It's almost like it's described like mindfulness, and how Gurbani talks about that totally differently. It's not mindfulness. It's something different. And how we act plays a big part of how we remember Waheguru as well. So what we do in the day affects how when we sit and try to do Simran, it's affected by everything that we've done. And we talked about that 2 weeks ago. So that was week 6, that was. So today, in Asa Ki War, there's when the Raggis in Amritsar do it, Darbar Sahib, if you go there about 4 o'clock, Asa Ki War or Gondia, and in there's a shabd, Pay which Pavan Baha Sadavao, Pay which Challe Lak Dariyao, Pay which Agan Kadeve Gar, Pay which Tarti Dabbi Par. Now in this shabd I've summarized it here. I've had to take the translation out because it's long. Pay which in the Sir Par, Pay which Raja Taram. What Guru is saying, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Shabda. Guru is saying everything in the world is working through fear, through dar. Dar which Sargush Chaldaya. That's why everything's working in order. The order of the universe, Guru is saying, works through dar. So in fear, the wind blows, thousands of rivers flow, fire is forced to labor, the earth, the clouds, the rain, even Dharmaraj. When we pass away, we have to go to Dharmaraj, and Dharmaraj looks at our account. So now Guru is saying, Obi pair which are Dardaya. Sun, the way the sun shines, the moon reflects off it. So the sun shining off the moon and how that reflects down. Jere Siddha, Buddha, the Devi Devate, the yogis, everything Guru is saying is working in dar. Everything, and when things work in dar, they work in order. It becomes order. And what do you think isn't working in dar here in the dunya? Human beings, Human beings dar de nahi hage. Everything else, what Guru is saying is, dar vich ya. So everything works good when it's in dar. As soon as it comes out of dar, it becomes messed up. So the human being is messed up. So even Guru uses shabds about like a cow and a tiger or a sher. A sher won't eat grass. Or jo marji kar lo, it might be dying. You'll never go and say, I'm going to eat the grass. If you look at a cow will only maas nahi khana. It wants grass, It's got a system, or system which chalda hai. And what we've called that intelligence. As you can, human being intelligent bahut hai. So we can think beyond the janwar. But what Guru is saying is, tu janwar ban gaya by acting like that. Kartut pasu ki manas jaat. Log pachara kare din raat. Guru says, pasu de kam hai tere. He's saying you're actually acting like an animal, even though you had intellect. So the intellect was supposed to bring us back into the pair, Darvich, to bring us back into the hukum, by hukum vich chal. And that's what Gurbani keeps saying to us all the way through. Pe gur sikh meet, chalo gur chali. Jo gur kahe soi pal mano, har katha nirali. Guru's telling a Sikh as well. Pe gur sikh meet, Tu Guru di chal vich chal, what Guru's telling you to do. So we've gone outside of that. Now, if I was to ask you what you fear, mere khayal tusi jawab de an answer anyway. But if I ask you what you fear, what do you fear? What are you scared of? Have you ever thought, like, internally, I'm scared of this SG that dar hai mainu? Living in life, what are you scared of? Painful death, yeah. मरने ते जगत डरै जीविया लोड़े सब कोई गुरु से सारे मरण तो सारी दुनिया डर दिया सारे जीना चाहते हैं everyone wants to live है ना we want to live forever. So there was this this Chapman University, you might have you can read it, but yeah, I thought it was going to be really small, huh? Chapman University, they do this survey, what the world fears, and 1,100 people did the survey, and these are all the things that people fear. A lot of it's a bit American, and I think it's a bit American. It's not necessarily a global survey, but corrupt government officials, that's the highest thing that people fear. Pollution of oceans, pollution of drinking water, not having enough money for the future, people I love becoming ill, people I love when they die or going to die, air pollution, cyber terrorism, terrorist attack. So what do you notice about that list? What do you notice about it? Huh? Mostly like death, terrorist attack, credit card fraud, terrorism, random mass shootings. So if we go to the next one, there's 100, huh? Government restrictions, Iran using nuclear weapons, break-ins, devastating tornado, police brutality, dying, racial hate crime. What's missing? Let's go to the next one. Walking alone at night. Some people are scared of the devil. Satan to dar diya. Sikhi which Satan nahi hega, by the way, just so that you know. There's no devil in Sikhi. Guruji says devil tu. Insects, demons. Look what's number 79? Number 79, no? So, Rabada Dar is similar to germs and needles and flying. Significant other cheating on you, extreme animal rightists who come and burn the building when you do experiments and stuff. The Vaigurus are number 79. What do you think that is? Sorry, say again? Maybe people don't believe in God, Hanji. Anything else? What do you think that is? Vaiguru da dar bahut low level te hai. You know, Vaiguru da dar for Sikh, oh pehla hona chahida hai. It's supposed to be first, hai na? First dar, Vaiguru da hai. After that, it's like, chalo, koi bamari lag jaogi, or something might happen to my household, or I might lose my job. That's all second, third, fourth, fifth. Now, the reason why a human being acts like that, because they ain't got faith, है ना? Faith nahi hega. You know, I described Sikhi before if you were trying to describe it in a sentence, है ना? एक sentence to which, what is it? Why Guru's saying to you, stop saying that you're doing it, and say why Guru's doing it. That's the one end, left wing to right wing, left to right. Hello? Your left is, you're saying, मैं कर रहा हूँ, Guru saying, नहीं, why Guru कर रहा है, सब कुछ. Now, to believe that Waheguru is doing everything, that person has to be a Gurmukh, है ना? That person, oh बहुत Guru naal, Waheguru naal बहुत प्यार, he has to have a lot of प्यार, otherwise you slip out of that. So we come to the Gurdwara and say, Hanji, Waheguru sab kuch kar diya, but we come out of the Gurdwara, but then it's not, मैं कर रहा sab kuch. I do everything. Now, if you look, let's look at Gurbani, है ना? If you think about what do you fear, what do you actually fear? Think about it, you know? You don't have to tell me, you know? But I'm saying, think about it. What do you fear? And often it's your fear that's keeping you in turmoil and creating dukh for you. Your dar hega dar karke dukhya. Because we've got some fear, you know? We're scared of something. Now, you know, why we need this Gurbani here. Fear is needed to be honest. But peh bin lag na lagei nam man nirmal hoye bin peh karma kamavane jhoothe thao na koe. Guruji says je dar to bagair jehdi seva hai sadi sada kam hai everything that we're doing je ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. There's no fear in it, na. ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਡਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਲਾਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਣੀ ਫੇ ਯਾਨੀ the karma that you're doing ਉਹਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਫਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਣਾ. It's a foundation. And often when we talk about it, it's again the dar, why should you be fearful? First thing person will say is, why do you need to be fearful? Be loving. Be loving. Now Gurbani has got answer to that, huh? Because it's a foundation of love is actually fear. That's what Gurbani, a Gurmata, it's on the Western world, which you're not going to get that from there. But the foundation of love is fear. If you haven't got fear, you can't love. Because love is inherently, it has got a fear in it. Gurdwara. And that's why you love that thing. Because you love it that much, you don't want that thing to go away. And you have a fear. Now the best example is a bacha and a baby and a mother. Now what's the mother so much in love with that baby, the mother's saying, oh bache nu, a woman looks after the baby like that, a mother, that she's scared, but ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਦੁੱਖ ਨਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇਹ ਡਿੱਗ ਨਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇਹ ਕੋਈ problem ਨਾ ਆ ਜਾਵੇ, and her fear is making her love grow, है ना? Because it's rooted in that. ਜਿਹੜੇ story ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ, you know, every time you watch television, you see these stories, है ना? you know, if you watch a program, ਜਿਹੜੇ poetry ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, you know, in poetry, in Punjab, in India, it's called no ras. Or no rasya. They try to put 9 flavors in a poetry. But no ras poetry ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. There's no rasa things like Pyanak rasya, Beer rasya, Prem rasya, all these things. So it's like you have to put some fear into it. You have to put a love story into it. You have to put some sort of hero into it who's got Beer ras. You have to. These are called the 9 ras. In no ras fe uni pata ki kan lappe. They started putting those in films as well. Film which you try. If you watch a film, it'll have some villain in it. It'll have some love story in it. It'll have some, you know, if you look Hollywood, it just kind of Bollywood was a standard kind of process before. Their films were all kind of just the same thing, just different people, you know. So they try to put those same things in. Now in the dunya, that's what we've been told. We've been told that there's this love like this, and in those love stories, ki hunda siga, the person couldn't marry the other one, so they got dukh mil gaya, and their dar was that main kade ede to bagair reh nahi sakda. No. But when they get married, they just get divorced afterwards, you know? But that's what there was this fear that they weren't going to be together, you know? There was a fear. So love, if you understand that properly, love has to come from fear. So when if we say, you know, the most overused word in language probably love, you know? Oh, I love it. I love that person. Oh yeah, I love my family. I love this. But really, if you use Guru's system, we don't love nothing, you know? We love probably materialism. We love that. The we'll find that out in a minute, but here, fear and love are quoted together. Look, Gur ke pੈ ਪਾਏ ਜੋ ਰਤੇ ਸਿਫਤੀ ਸੱਚ ਸਮਾਓ. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਭੈ ਵਿੱਚ and ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਡਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, the fearful and the loving at the same time, है ना. ਉਹ ਡਰਦੇ ਆ. What do you think we're scared of? What are we scared of? If we say Guru di seva ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, what are we scared of? Or what are we scared of? If we're fearful when we're doing seva, I think, what is it that we're scared of? ਹਾਂਜੀ. ਸੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਡਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਉਂਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਗੁਰੂ doesn't like it. We're doing it wrong, ਹੈ ਨਾ. If you do your seva with that as a foundation, ਫਿਰ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਵਧਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ. Then your love will grow after that, if that's the foundation. When that foundation goes, then ਫਿਰ ਪਿਆਰ, there's no real ਪਿਆਰ then, ਹੈ ਨਾ. The ਪਿਆਰ becomes a bit contractual. Starts becoming a bit contractual. And so here, har gun hirday tikke tiske jis antar pao pavni hoi. Now Waheguru de gun, this is what we're trying to do here, by the way. So our journey here in this dunya is we're trying to get Waheguru's gun inside of us, pargat. That's why we say uparkash ho jana. Waheguru's gun and human, whether human being acts, they're different things. And Guruji says, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਣ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਟਿਕਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਰ ਵੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਵੀ ਆ. If you have both of those things. Now, when we talk about ਦੁੱਖ ਤੇ ਸੁੱਖ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੇ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, the things which ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ is not in, if you think about it properly. The things ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਵਿੱਚ. So for instance, if I lose my job, I never thought that Waheguru gave me that job, and every day I go to that job, I love Waheguru for that job, and everything's because of Waheguru, है ना. We just look at the job as the job. When we sit with our family, ਜਦੋਂ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, we just look at them, ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ for us. And that's what Guru's saying to us, ਭਈ ਜਿੰਦ ਦੁੱਖ ਤਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਵਿਸਰ ਜਾਏ. ਦੁੱਖ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਵਿਸਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ. That's pain then. We're making our pain like that. So if we don't have fear at the foundation, then there is no love. And ਜਿਹੜਾ example Maharaj ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, proper, if you look at arranged marriage, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ in India, arranged marriage, do you know our parents never saw, they found out who they're marrying on the day, they sat down and they said, this is who you're getting married to. ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ. Some bachola said, there's a BP over there, there's a banda over there, ਉਹ ਮੁੰਡਾ over there, ਕੁੜੀ over there. ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਵਧੀਆ ਆ, ਨਾਈਸ ਆ, ਮੈਚ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ, and they did ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ. You didn't know, they didn't see each other. ਹੁਣ look how fussy everyone is now, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਹੁਣ everyone saying, ਹਾਂਜੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਆ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, this should be like this should be like that. And you find people, ਉਹਨਾਂ 9 ਮੁੰਡੇ ਜਾਂ 10 ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੇਖ ਲਿਆ, ਹਲੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ. But the way Guru's described it, ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਭਈ when ਇਸਤਰੀ ਉਹ ਘਰ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਸੀ, she was scared, ਹੈ ਨਾ. Because she says, ਇਸ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਮਾਹੌਲ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ. She doesn't know what their ਰੀਤ is. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਈ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਖੁਸ਼ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ 'ਤੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ, ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ. She doesn't know nothing. She doesn't know him at all. Guruji says, this is how our Sikhi starts. ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਚੋਲਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾਤਾ, ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਕੁਛ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. It's the same way. ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ when ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਇਸਤਰੀ in that house, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਈ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਆਹ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. This is how, ਇੱਦਾਂ my ਚੱਜ ਅਤੇ ਅਚਾਰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, my dress, I dress like this. ਜਦੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਆ. And that's what Guru says, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੇ ਵਖੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਓ ਨਾ. So what Guru's saying is, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੱਚੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਹੀਦਾ before you get married, ਇੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸੁੱਖ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ. when you get married, no? Guru ji is doing the same here. He says, "Just dunya te aaye ho, ਇੱਥੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਾ." He said, "Learn it." ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਦਰਗਾਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇ ਕਮੀ ਸੌਖਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਪਏ ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲੇ ਜਾ, you're not ਠੀਕ. And so the ਬੱਚੀ was always scared ਪਈ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਣਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲੇ ਜਾ ਨਾ. And when we look at all these ਪੰਕਤੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਸਤਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ first she started off with ਦੁੱਖ, ਉਹ ਦੁੱਖ ਫਿਰ started off with ਡਰ. She started off, ਉਹ ਡਰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਡਰ ਕੇ initially ਫਿਰ ਕੰਮ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ, ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ, ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ she's become, ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬਣ ਗਏ, their love became one, ਹੈ ਨਾ. And Guru's describing our Sikhi the same way. He says, first, we don't understand Vaheguru. ਭਈ ਸੋ ਹਰ ਪੁਰਖ ਅਗੰਮ ਹੈ, ਕੋ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਪਾਈਐ. Guru says, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਅਗੰਮ ਪੁਰਖ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ? ਤਿਸ ਰੂਪ ਨਾ ਰੇਖ ਅਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟ ਕੋ ਜਨ ਕਿਉਂ ਧਿਆਈਐ. ਉਹਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ? ਨਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਦਾ ਰੂਪ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦਾ ਰੂਪ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ. Vaheguru hasn't got a ਰੂਪ really, as in a form. ਰੂਪ ਰੇਖ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ. ਅਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ, is outside my eyes, how can you see him? ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਨਿਰੰਜਨ ਹਰ ਅਗੰਮ ਕਿਆ ਕਹਿ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਈਐ, ਜਿਸ ਆਪ ਬੁਝਾਏ ਆਪ ਸੋ ਹਰ ਮਾਰਗ ਪਾਈਏ. Guru says, ਉਹ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਕਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ. So how can we find him? But Guru tells us this, ਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੇ ਵਿਖਾਲਿਆ ਗੁਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਪਾਈਐ. Guru ji says, ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ, and Guru will take you there, he'll show you how to do it. So the same way, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਇਸਤਰੀ, a woman who's initially married, ਉਹ ਡਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀ, she's going to ask her ਸਹੇਲੀਆਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ, ਭਈ ਆਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ, is this right or wrong? So she'll learn like that. That's all lot of Gurbani shabds are like that. ਭਈ ਚਾਹੇ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਸੁਹਾਗਣੀ ਤੁਸਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਹਰ ਆਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪਤੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. That's what Gurbani is trying to say to us here. ਭਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਫਿਰ, who do we ask? ਭਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਆ. And when Guru Sahib ਨੇ ਭਗਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਪਾਈ ਹੈ in Guru Granth Sahib, ਹੈ ਨਾ. And the ਭਗਤ they are sakhiyaan ਸਹੇਲੀਆਂ as well, ਹੈ ਨਾ. And so when we ask, and Guru Shabds are written like that too, but how do we get that gun? So to fear is a gun first. Now if you imagine this, we say someone went to a household, name ਵਿਆਹਿਓ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ they start doing ਸੱਸ ਨਾਲ problem, husband ਨਾਲ problem, husband ਦੇ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨਾਲ problem, husband ਸਿਸਟਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ problem, then you would say in ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੇ ਉਹ ਕਚੱਜੀ ਆ ਨਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਅਕਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਪਾਤੀ ਉੱਥੇ. Guru saying the same thing to us. ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ, oh I know everything, I'm so we haven't got any humility. ਬਈ ਹੋ ਕੋਈ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੋਗਾ who knows more or does more, or Guru says ਉਹ ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਹੈ, ਪਿਆਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ. That we don't look like that. ਬਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ looking for the ਸੁਹਾਗਣ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. Guru saying in ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੇ ਸੁਹਾਗਣ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਭੋ, ਉਹ ਡਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਾ ਆ. That's all in ਡਰ that is. ਪਰ ਡਰ ਆ ਪੇ I'm ਗਲਤ, ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, someone else will guide me to him. So then that's how love comes. But ਜਿਹੜੇ if you look at some of these fear, love and bairag. Now when we talked about bairag comes. Bairag is that feeling where if you do seva, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ same way ਇਸਤਰੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਿਆ, ਦੂਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਿਆ ਆ, it's gone far. Guru saying ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ ਆ, and then ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ when he's going to come back. The wife doesn't know when he's going to come back. ਉਹਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇੰਨਾ ਬੈਰਾਗ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਦੋਂ ਆਊਗਾ, when he's going to come. And that's what that stage is. but ਉਹ ਡਰ ਤੋਂ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ still. Guru says first ਡਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੈਰਾਗ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਬੈਰਾਗ ਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ, and then ਉੱਥੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਮਿਲਾਪ ਹੁੰਦਾ. So here, ਗੁਰਮਤੀ ਭਉ ਉਪਜੈ ਭਾਈ, ਭਉ ਕਰਨੀ ਸੱਚ ਸਾਰ, ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਪਾਈਏ ਭਾਈ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਮ ਆਧਾਰ. Guru says first, when you listen to Guru Ji, ਡਰ, you're going to start finding fear then. ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਮੱਤ ਤੋਂ ਭੈ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ. We can't wake up now and say that today I'm scared. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਡਰ, ਨਿਰਮਲ ਭਉ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, and now ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੈ. That's not how it is. First Guru ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਮੱਤ ਅੰਦਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. Guru mat comes. When Guru mat comes, ਫਿਰ ਡਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. That's called nirmal pau. So Guru says first that comes, pau ਕਰਨੀ ਸੱਚ ਸਾਰ, ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਪਾਈਏ ਭਾਈ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਮ ਆਧਾਰ, ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਦਾ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਮਿਲਦਾ. Then that person's got ਨਾਮ. Then ਜਿਹਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਪਿਆਰ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਆ, they've got ਨਾਮ. Then ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਨਾਮ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਇਹ ਲੋ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਬਿਨਾ ਭਾਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਪਜੈ, ਭਾਵ ਬਿਨ ਭਗਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏ ਤੇਰੀ. So even when we come to ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ you can never get it without ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ. ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ saying ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ that love comes. The love comes from the thing we're supposed to be doing together collectively, you know. And ਜਾਂ ਭਾਉ ਪਾਏ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੈਰਾਗ ਉਪਜੈ ਮਨ ਆਏ, ਬੈਰਾਗੇ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਪਾਈਏ ਹਰ ਸਿਉ ਰਹੇ ਸਮਾਏ. ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੈਰਾਗ ਆ, that comes from that dar as well. So you know, when the way we're living today, the way we live as humans, Guru Ji says ਇੱਕ ਨਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਸੋਝੀ ਆਈ, ਇੱਕ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਵੇ ਪਰਵਾਹ. ਇੱਕ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨੂੰ, human being ਨੂੰ ਸੋਝੀ ਆ ਗਈ ਆ. In other words, they got a realization ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਆ. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਆ. ਨਾਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ. In this while I'm living here, I have to find ਨਾਮ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਇੱਕ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਵੇ ਪਰਵਾਹ. ਗੁਰੂ says the some, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੇ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਭਈ they don't care. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੈ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਭਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇ ਨਾ ਮਿਲੇ, ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ, they don't care, ਹੈ ਨਾ. So these are different types of human beings that we have. But ਸਾਡਾ destination is this. We're supposed to be finding these gun. You know, there was this ਇੱਕ book ਲਿਖੀ ਸੀ person, he wrote 5 languages of love, ਹੈ ਨਾ. 5 love languages, yeah. He wrote it to say this is physically ਪਿਆਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ. In a minute we'll talk about Sikhi. Sikhi doesn't, you know, agree ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ Sikhi. But ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਪਰ ਬੋਲਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ. But here just as some people, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਭਈ words ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. Words ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. Some people's is with quality time. They sit together, attention, shared experiences. Some people find that that's the way they receive love or want to receive it. Some people want gifts, you know. High maintenance ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹ. Some people want gifts. They say gift ਹੀ love ਆ. ਭਈ gift ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ divorce ਹੀ ਚੰਗਾ ਆ. Some people want acts of service. They say wash up, clean up, do this, do that, do that. If you do that, that means you love me, you know. Some people is physical touch. So some people will be, well, you've never hugged me in 20 years, so that means you don't love me, you know. So there was a book that I can't remember what the author's name is, but he described that. To be fair to this, it's not to criticize it. To be fair to it, he's saying that's the language. So that doesn't mean that's love. He's not trying to describe love there. He's saying that's the language of it. So that's how some people express their love, because love is difficult. Just if we ask, "Pe pyar ki a cheez?" ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਸਾਡਾ, ਸਾਡੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ. What is it? You know, what is that love? And I think we discussed it before. We go through this with addicts, you know. Say, what do you love? And we go through the whole thing, and they love the bottle. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ addiction ਇੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ, this proper pure love is. ਜਿੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੋਤਲ ਨਾਲ ਆ. We haven't got nothing like that. Sikhi, you know, it's not there. ਉਹ ਮਰ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਨਾ, ਬੋਡੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗੀ, ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨਾ ਬੋਲੇ anything. They ਰਤੇ ਹੋ, they're proper stuck in that thing. That's and that's why Guru uses that. ਭਈ ਅਮਲੀ ਅਮਲ ਨਾ ਅੰਬੜੈ, ਮੱਛੀ ਨੀਰ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ. ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ uses that. ਭਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਮਲੀ ਆ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹ ਅਮਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਦਾ, Guru says ਇੱਦਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਲ. So if we look at this, ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ is described like this, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਭਈ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ lotus flower, lotus sits on the water. So number 1 here, this is a lotus here, number 1. And what it does, ਉਹ ਲਹਿਰਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ, but it stays, the lotus flower stays there. ਉੱਥੇ ਟਿਕਿਆ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਕਮਲ ਦਾ ਫੁੱਲ. It doesn't matter, ਉਹ ਆਈ ਜਾਣ ਲਹਿਰਾਂ, ਟਿਕਿਆ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ. ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਆ it tolerates it. That means ਦੁੱਖ ਵੀ ਆਵੇ, कुछ भी आ जाए, it says मैं टिकिया रहना है. That's a form of love, है ना? It's a big form of love. That it doesn't matter if that thing's giving you dukh, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ you got turmoil, but ਉਹ ਛੱਡਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭਗਤ ਸੀਗੇ, they did that. If you read ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆ, ਨਾਮਦੇਵ ਨੂੰ ਤਸੀਹੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਤੇ tied him down, ਹਾਥੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਕੀਤਾ. ਬਈ ਗੰਗਾ ਕੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਮੇਰੀ ਟੁੱਟੀ ਜੰਜੀਰ, ਉਹਨੇ ਗੰਗਾ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ everything. ਉਹ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਉਹਨੇ. He didn't stop because he don't care. He tolerated. He said whatever the hukum is, ਉਹਨੂੰ tolerate ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ. So that's his big form of love, है ना? Second thing is dependency. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੱਛੀ ਨੀਰ ਨਾਲ ਆ, ਮੱਛੀ loves the ਪਾਣੀ, is dependent on it. Real true love is that you say that ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ I can't live without that thing. I can't live without it. If you say I can't live without it, ਅਸਲੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਉਹ ਆ. But you say ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਰਨਾ ਠੀਕ ਆ. So the second is dependency. The third one is devotion to only that thing. So ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਚਾਤਰਿਕ ਆ, ਉਹ ਬੂੰਦ, even that now they're saying is that's a kind of mythological thing that's come from the thing, but regardless, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬੂੰਦ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ from the ਆਕਾਸ਼. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਰਜੀ, but he only wants the ਆਕਾਸ਼ ਦਾ ਬੂੰਦ. He says I don't want any other one. That's a form of love, है ना? ਉਹਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਭਈ it doesn't want anything else. If you read Gurbani says ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੇਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਸੀਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੰਦਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. It doesn't need anything. So ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਾਮ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. I don't care about anything. So it's devoted to the Guru's mat, है ना? Self-sacrifice, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਤੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਆ. So when you put milk up on the heat, it evaporates the ਪਾਣੀ, है ना? The ਪਾਣੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. ਪਾਣੀ says I'll sacrifice, keep the cream and the milk there. So ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਪਣੇ kills itself, it's self-sacrifice. That's love, ਉਹ ਪਿਆਰ ਆ. And ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੱਕਵੀ ਆ ਨਾ, bird, and at night, ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ it gets depressed. ਉਹ ਸੌਂਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ. So when the sun goes down, it gets depressed and it starts going round and round in circles. Or don't sleep. It says मैं सूरज ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ. So ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਸੂਰਜ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਦਾ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੌਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ, has got a longing for it. Says till that thing comes, I'm not going to stop. ਇਹ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ. So these are the elements. ਇਹ elements ਹੈ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ. And in Gurbani there's more, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਆ 5 element ਆ, but in Gurbani there's more. So like Guru says, just ਭੁੱਖੇ ਖਾਵਤ ਲਾਜ ਨਾ ਆਵੇ. ਜੇ person ਭੁੱਖਾ ਹੈਗਾ and ਉਹਨੇ ਖਾਧਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ for many days, person hasn't eaten for 5 days, and ਉਹਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਆ, that person just don't care about anything. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਉਹ ਖਾਂਦਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ. You're not going to look at you to say, hey, look, it's got on his ਕੱਪੜੇ, he's dropped some, he's eating really fast. Doesn't care. ਜੋ ਕਾਮੀ ਕਾਮ ਲੁਭਾਵੇ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਾਮੀ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਆ, ਉਹ ਬੇਸ਼ਰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਇਸ ਪਰਸਨ ਇਜ਼ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਲੁੱਕ ਐਟ ਸਮਬਡੀ, ਉਹਨੇ ਬੇਸ਼ਰਮ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ. ਉਹਨੇ ਜੋ ਕਾਮੀ ਕਾਮ ਲੁਭਾਵੇ, ਤਿਉ ਹਰ ਦਾਸ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਭਾਵੈ. ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਾਮੀ ਆ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹ looks at something, he doesn't look at someone's looking, the family's there, something else is there, ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, he doesn't care. ਮੂਰਖ, it becomes a ਮੂਰਖ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? But Guru says ਇੱਦਾਂ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ, just like they don't care, you do it like you don't care, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So ਉਹ ਵੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਆ. And then Guru Ji says, ਜੋ ਮਾਤਾ ਬਾਲ ਲਪਟਾਵੇ, ਤਿਉ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਕਮਾਵੇ. You know, a mother, like a mother looks after a baby, she nurtures it. ਜਿਹੜਾ nurturing ਆ, ਉਹ ਪਿਆਰ ਆ. For us, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ connection ਆ, at beginning is very weak, ਹੈ ਨਾ? You know, our connection to Guru Ji ਬਹੁਤ weak ਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ. You have to nurture it. ਉਹਨੂੰ nurture ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ. You have to give it, feed it. ਡੇਲੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫੀਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਜਦੋਂ ਮਾਤਾ ਬਾਲ ਨੂੰ ਲਪਟਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ says what they do is they feed it daily, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So feed the need for naam, and that is, you can't, naam is like ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, ਨਾ, you can't feed, you can't nurture naam, ਹੈ ਨਾ? But yeah, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ. So these are the aspects, ਹੈ ਨਾ? And if you look at these, continue even if you're receiving pain from doing so. That's tolerance. to be totally dependent and consider yourself incapable of surviving without. A dependency. To have single devotion for one and not desire another, that's the devotion. To sacrifice part of oneself for the other, that's the sacrifice, like the dudh. And to have a longing to meet when separated. So, if we think about that, what do you love then? If you look at the dunya today, what do we love? What do we actually love? What have we been dependent on? What do we tolerate? What do we say even if it doesn't go that right? I tolerate it. What do we say that I'll sacrifice myself for it? What do we do all that for? If we say I've got a longing for it. Because in our dunya, this is what's happened now. Because we remember we're talking about Dukh here. Asi Dukh apna bana liya. We made our own Dukh. Jitho Sukh milna siga, us Sukh nu chhad ke nit nit mange Sukh jiyo, Guru ji says, par karta chitna avai fir ladde Dukh jiyo. Because Sukh ta sare mangde a, but he says, Waheguru chitni hai. Waheguru chitni hai, nit nit Dukh hi aunda hai, Dukh hi aayi janda hai. Here, what we say is tolerance. That was what it means. We've described that anyway. Staying pure, calm, stable, remembering. In dunya which maya de vich distort ho janda hai. So what we start doing is we tolerate apne paap asi tolerate kar liya. Sadi home hai, our own home hai, asi tolerate kar liya sara. We says it doesn't matter, theek hai, sab kuch. Corruption. A modern day example, staying silent in injustice, accepting toxic behavior to fit in. So when we say tolerance, asi dunya maya sara tolerate kar liya hai. In other words, we love maya, What we're really saying is we'll tolerate what maya does to us. If maya every day nit asi maya ch fas ke Waheguru da cheta bhul gaya, nitnem karde nahi hege, we haven't sara simran nahi karde, Gurbani doesn't mean that much. Gurdwara is kind of like secondary thing that we do, So asi tolerate kar liya. So we said maya theek ya. So in other words, we love it. That's what Guru says, "E premiya maya da." And Guru saying to us, "Maya rang berang khine mein jo badar ki shaya." He said, "Maya ek din rang ho janda hai. Everything becomes kharab. Ek din sara theek hunda, next day kharab ho gaya sara. E badal di shaya shaan mangua. If you sit under the cloud while it's sunny, you get cool for a bit. But the cloud goes away, फिर धुप आ जाती फिर. Guru saying it's like that, फिर दुख आ जाता है. Dependency. It doesn't pata si soul knows it cannot live without naam. That's what it really is. We should be inside of us, there should be massive, massive dependency, saying ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਜੀਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ. We can't live without that. It's ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ secure, is everything for us. ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ is everything for us. But what happens is, the dependency shifts to wealth, validation, technology, substances, and addiction to phones, social media, sara kuch. Asi the dependent edde te ho gaye, like we said before, shema ka car ban gaya sada phone, and asi dependent ho gaye social media te. Asi dependent ho gaye pe sari dunya sanu kave pe yes, this person's a good person. And social status, corruption bhi ho gayi. Even when we're doing mariyan cheezaं, je change keh dan sanu. There's a code, jadon gangster nahi hunde, criminals kathe hunde. A criminal gets praised for the worst crime that they do, To unnu sobha mildi hai in their own circle. Asi ge to the jail. I didn't go to jail, but I went to visit the jail, to do Sikhi talk there, But utte munda aaya, he just got arrested and put in thingy. And he's bragging, he's going like, "Oh man, I did 120 miles an hour." And it was like this and like, for him, that was his sobha, that was his praise, that was his claim to fame. And I'm sitting looking at him saying, "You murak, you just got put in jail, You can't even go out to the shop. Like, I could go to the shop and go and get something and buy it. You can't even do that, है ना. But ਉੱਥੇ ਬੈਠਾ, he's got his own soba. Because criminal ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, criminal ਆਪਣੇ ਉਹਦੀ soba ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚ ਏਦਾਂ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਆ. So human being is just thick. It's very, very stupid. Our brains are just thick, है ना. And so all that dependency ho gaya, as long as you don't care about dependency on Waheguru, है ना. All the dependency, as long as people keep saying, yeah, that's brilliant, that is. You know, I was talking about addicts before, the addiction, you know, when the ones who I know won't give up, you know what they start doing? You know, when I was drinking, I used to drink 9 of those and I used to have 2, they romanticized it, then they're done. They're done, huh? You say that he's still got too much respect for that thing. You know, in Sikhi, you got to lose respect for the worldly thing. You have to lose respect for it. And if you don't, Sikhi nahi badni poti. Je duniya vich tusi, everything's about dunya. Tusi dependent ya dunya te fe. Guru ji kehinde ete bandhan tod mukt hoye, sache rahe samaye. Bandhana to tut jande ya Sikh. They break it all. So they're not dependent on it anymore. Hai na? Yere apne devotion, bird waiting for a raindrop. Look what our devotion's gone to. We're devoted to our career. I was talking to my son. He was in a job. Utte kehanda 10 hours work there. Je 14 kehte pagal hoye tusi 14 hour work daily, है ना. 12, 13, 14 घंटे daily. Saying like that's not right, you know. But that's their devotion, you know. Workaholics. Gym, I've seen these gym guys training like vadiya chalo, you might say body gets healthy or something. Idolizing celebrities, blind following of personalities, performing religion for image. What you devote to devotion, sara kharab ho gaya hai. Guru saying that devotion has to be Waheguru le, you know, devoted to Waheguru. I think the bottom's got cut off here. Sacrifice, dekh giving up ego, we know about that. It's serving Waheguru, you know. But sacrifice is present, but we do it same things. Family honor. Kei jehde parents hai gaya. We've dealt with these kind of issues before. Nyane ne ilt kar liya. And these are amritari bache, by the way, you know. Amrit shakya unhone, and nyana does ilt. And the way the family starts going into overprotection mode, nyana ilt kar hi nahi sakda ho. वो अपना दीन, let's say दीन गवाई दूनी से हो, वो अपना righteousness खराब कर लेंदे आ in the protection of their own kids, है ना. And so the sacrifice, जिथे sacrifice Waheguru ले सका, उन्हें sacrifice बच्चियां ले कर लिया when they're गलत, है ना. When your family's गलत, उन्हें justify करना. So all the sacrifices are all wrong. And the bottom, sorry, got cut off there. But you know, that longing, what we're longing for, we're longing to be really, really rich. Great careers, we're longing for all these things. But yeah, all those things happen anyway. I don't know if you realized in life, because you're going to get, everything happens in life anyway. But then when you look back after 30 years, you say, ahi kam kita main, ahi kita 30 salan lai, 40 years, ahi kam kita 50 years, ahi kam kita is waste of time. And you think about it, you say, why didn't I start this earlier? दूजे चीज़ें तो करनी है, we're going to do our दुनियावी काम, वो तो करने हैं सी. But you see, everything what we're doing, we lost it. So when we look at our love is, this is the end of it anyway, you know? If you think about these things, think about it in the context of Dukh and Sukh, you know? What do you fear? What do you love? And have those things brought you happiness or pain? The thing that you loved, what did it give you? What did it give you really? The thing that we have loved, है ना? The thing that जिस चीज़ ऐसी डरते सके, what did it give you really? What has it given you? की मिले उन चीज़ों तो? Stress. It's given us a form of stress. What Guruji says is bandhana च फंस गए. It's got tied up in something, है ना? It's given us. It hasn't given us what we thought it would give us. And that's what Guru's saying. Guru's saying, Bije bikh mange amrit vikho e nyao. Guru says, bikh bij, they are poison, sowing poison. And then from that, we want that to grow some ripe mangoes or something. We want some mittha. We want mittha from that. Jair beej ke. In nyao dekh lo. Nyao means injustice. And everybody does it. Everybody says, I don't do that much, but I shouldn't get this, and this should happen for me. So जिन्हें शब्द नहीं आते भी सेवा थोड़ी मांगना बहुता महल ना पावे कह तो बहुता भाई सेवा बहुत थोड़ी आ पर मांगदे बहुत आ. In return for the little bit that I do, I want loads. Again, बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए मैंने in return. जो प्रिया माने तिन की रीसा. Guru Ji says, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਰ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸੇਵਕ ਆ, these are mine. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰੀਸ ਆ, they just ਰੀਸ, ਆਮ ਰੀਸ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ. ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਿਆ ਮਾਨੇ ਤਿਨ ਕੀ ਰੀਸ ਆ, ਕੂੜੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਕੀ ਹਾਠੀ ਸਾ. ਗੁਰੂ says ਮੂਰਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੂੜ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਵਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ, but we're not gonna get that thing, because ਸੇਵਾ ਥੋੜੀ ਆ. The seva is not enough. Now ਸੇਵਾ is ਪਿਆਰ. ਅਸਲੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਂਡੇ ਧੋ ਲਏ ਆ. सेवा ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ but we might who would this ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, on a physical perspective, that's ਸੇਵਾ. but ਅਸਲੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਗੁਰੂ saying is ਉਹ ਨੇ ਆ, ਪਿਆਰ. ਸੇਵਾ is ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ. So we want to go away from here today like this. If we say ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਡਰਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ, there's a point where, one thing I didn't cover in the fear was, did you know when you fear correctly, because we're fearing incorrectly, when you fear correctly, eventually Waheguru takes it away. When we say nirpau japai, sagal pau mite, Waheguru is nirpau, and the gun that you do simran of, that's what gun you get. Does that make sense? So the thing you're meditating on, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਆ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ. That's why even last week ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ when people they listen to specific types of music, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਲਿਰਿਕ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਣ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆ, even as ਅਵਗੁਣ I would say, ਉਹ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. It comes inside. So when we start recognizing ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਆ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਦੇ as ਨਿਰਭਉ, ਸਾਡਾ ਭਉ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ. We become ਨਿਰਭਉ as well. ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ, we recognize ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ's ਪਿਆਰ. When we meditate, I use that word loosely, like that. ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੇਤਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਸਿਫਤ ਸਲਾਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ, like that, ਫਿਰ that ਪਿਆਰ comes inside of us. When we see ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ as the compassionate, by ਦਇਆ ਕੇ ਦਿਆਲ ਆ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ. When you start singing ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ as compassionate, compassion comes into us. And when we see Waheguru as Santokhi, so ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਖ ਆ, ਲੋਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੁਖੀ ਆ, something's made us ਦੁਖੀ in this dunya. When we start saying Waheguru, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਤੋਖੀ ਆ, ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਸੰਤੋਖੀ ਆ, ਉਤਰੇ ਮਨ ਕੇ ਭੁੱਖ. Start looking out, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, start looking out for virtues, where we're speaking to Waheguru, you'll see there's lots. When you start remembering Waheguru as Santokhi, as in content, Waheguru is content. Waheguru doesn't care. This galaxy, we talked about in week 2 about galaxies and all that. A galaxy tot jave, it doesn't make no difference. Waheguru doesn't make no difference. Galaxy uthar trillion ho raha. There's loads of them, planets, bahut hai. Is ਬੇਪਰਵਾਹ ਹੈ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ. ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਪਰਵਾਹ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, you become ਬੇਪਰਵਾਹ, as in things don't bother you then. Very little bothers you. So it's how you see Waheguru is what you become. That's why Guru Sahib, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ Guru Granth Sahib at the start, Maharaj ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ, Maharaj ਸੱਚਾ ਨਾਮ ਆ. If you say the ਸੱਚਾ ਨਾਮ, ਆਪਣਾ ਕੂੜ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਫਿਰ. If you say Waheguru's naam is sacha, then my naam has to be 0, If my naam is still great, then Waheguru's naam is nothing. Barabari kar deti hai, na? Guru says, idda nahi hai, then my name has to be 0. And do you know what Gurbani says? ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, Guru says, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨਾਮ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਉੱਚਾ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ makes you, gives them ਸੋਭਾ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋਭਾ ਜੁਗ ਜੁਗ ਹੋਈ. ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਜੁਗ ਜੁਗ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋਭਾ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਆ. ਜੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਹਿ ਤਾ ਵੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸੱਚਾ ਨਾਮ ਆ, ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ, ਉਹ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ, If you say Vaiguru's Karta Purkh, then you can't be Karta Purkh as well, no? Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't be as well. It's mutually exclusive, no? It's either one or the other. It can't be both. It says Vaiguru's Karan Wala, tusi kida Karan Wale ho gaye. You can't be then. Karta Purkh Nirpau. Nirpau wa Maharaj. So then we say, Mere vich sare pੈ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਆ ਫਿਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਉਹ ਭੈ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਰ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 'ਚ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਆ if we start remembering ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ as he's got no enmity ਸਾਡੀ enmity end ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ stops and ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਆ now look at that if we say ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ does your atma becomes ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ as well ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਣਾ here again you don't have to come here again because ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਜੂਨਾ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਜੂਨ means to take a birth you say ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ never takes a birth then if you remember ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ like that you never take a birth self-created no our body's being created but our jyot is self-created as well ਜਿਹੜੀ light ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ same as ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ's and then ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ if you say ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ then Guru will do kirpa on you and that's how we read Bani ਹੈ ਨਾ that's how we do it ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਣ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਆ ਸਿਫਤ ਸਲਾਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੁਣਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ then ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਗੁਣ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ that's how we do bhakti so that covers what we've been doing what we did today so we've done all these weeks and now this is week 8 now there's only 2 left so our fear and our love can create pain so when we fear in the wrong way and we love in the wrong way oh dukh ban jana sada it will become pain it become a problem basically you know but Guruji redirects these two things to Waheguru so that we can remove ourselves from the pain of the dunya ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ pain ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ we've come here sometimes a person pain doesn't mean you're depressed pain just means do you recognize it but Guruji says bhai dukh vishoda ਇਹ ਵਿਛੋੜੇ ਦਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਦੁੱਖ ਭੂਖ ਇੱਕ ਦੁੱਖ ਸਖਤ ਵਾਰ ਜਮਦੂਤ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿਰ 'ਤੇ ਜਮਦੂਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਫੰਦ ਵੀ ਆ person starts fearing then says like when I die I don't know what's going to happen to me ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਡਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ you need fear ਹੈ first to get out of this dunya otherwise you're going to just keep doing everything everyone else does because it gives us a form of comfort It gives us a form of comfort to say, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲੂੰਗਾ but that's why Guru says ਭਗਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਚਾਲ ਨਿਰਾਲੀ so if you see a crowd this is a very easy way to see ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਗਤ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ crowd ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ if you want to go to where the crowd is ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਗਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ really ਭਗਤ crowds ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੈਸੇ ਮੇਲੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਲੱਗਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਨੇ crowds ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ you know Maskeen ji used to say ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਭਈ you know ਭੀੜਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਧ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਧਾਂ ਦੀ ਭੀੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿਤੇ so he says when you see big massive crowd and it's a popular thing if it's popular it's because there's probably some manamat going on no? so if it's popular thing he says ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਧ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ and he said you're not going to get a crowd of sadh he goes sadhan da crowd nahi milna kite oh virle hunde a ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਿਵ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਆ ਉਹ ਵਿਰਲੇ ਆ they just scattered they're not like you're not going to get 1,000 of them sitting somewhere na 2,000 ਏਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ that's not what it is you know so what we're going to do we're going to finish off with Simran and like I said 2 weeks ago was it 2 weeks ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ hopefully does anyone think about what they do in the daytime now anyone thinking a little bit to say this ਕੰਮ ain't going to help me when I'm doing Simran that's what we should be doing ਇੱਕ ਕੰਮ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ you should be looking at that and saying like is this useful because what we were talking about 2 weeks ago is about making ਦੁੱਧ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ then ਉਹ ਦੁੱਧ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ and like I said the easy thing was to just check like what we're doing daily is there anything that we've done daily where I could use that feeling that I did there in my Simran, and if we can't, then our days we're just stuck dunya vich fase ho asi, just stuck. It's hard actually to awaken a little bit even in the daytime, because the day just starts, and it's like, oh, I've got to do this, then you got to do that, and you got to do this. Sometimes you got to stop. Sometimes you got to stop and say, I'm not gonna do that much of this yet. And jara chit laun wali gal hai, which we couldn't cover, because really there's 1 week next week, then we probably got to summarize a lot in the last one. But jara, chit laun di gal jari hegi about, we're sitting here now, but our mind could have been somewhere else. You're over there, wherever the mind was going, that's where you are really. You're not really here. So what Guru's saying is, whatever you're doing while you're staying in that place, that's where you're really sitting. So you could be in Kam, you could be in Kam, but you can be in your Simran room at home. It's thodi marji hai na. You can be in your work, and you could be in Darbar Sahib. It's thodi marji hai. You can be at work, and you can really be in Sachkhand. Depends what that means to you, but I'm saying Sachkhand Guru de naal. You could be Guru de naal. You could do all your Kam, you could do everything. But you can be in the Gurdwara, and you can be at work. You can be at the Gurdwara, and you could be sitting in a nightclub. There's the Monday who comes sometimes, they niyat theek nahi hegi. So Gurdwara sometimes. You could be sitting in a Gurdwara, and you can just be Maya Tari, Tari, Koi fark hi nahi paya. Aaya, nahi aaya, you might as well not have come. So here, this is what you got to remember is, in the daytime matters. It matters a lot what we're doing daytime, and then what we're doing in our Nityanim as well, because otherwise everything just goes really fast. So ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੁਖ ਆਸਨ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ